Hello, everyone, and welcome to another riveting edition of Under the Floorboards, where we laugh at the creatures that go bump in the night. I am your host, John, joined as always by my beautiful co-host, Eric. How are you this week?
I'm pretty fucking hungover. How are you?
Dude, I'm pretty sure that like I got up at like noon today after drinking like a fifth of vodka, and for more Patreon content, it's just going to be Eric talking about like what a dumbass I was last week. He's like, wow, he really doesn't know how a remote works anymore.
The plot twist is that I gave you a calculator.
Which is even worse because like I can't do math. At least I'm not like an angry drunk or like a violent scumbag.
He just wants to watch movies and drink more.
Yeah, apparently it's like I just want to watch Terrifier 2 and pour shots.
Because it was like in my head it was like 10:30. And it was probably much later than 10:30. But in my head it was 10:30, and I said, "Hey, you want to watch Terrifier 2?" And you went, "Oh."
Just ejaculate all over the fucking couch.
Proceeded to spend the next 20 minutes trying to figure out how to play Terrifier 2.
That I own. Yeah, for more Patreon subscribers. Guys, my paraplegic dog just got himself off the couch, which is terrifying. Like, that's what the fuck, dude.
It's James.
Sorry, today is so cracked. It is.
This is either going to be the best episode or the worst episode
ever. Also, welcome to Spooky Month, everybody. Like,
hey.
very, very excited. Happy Halloween to everybody. Happy October.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the last 24 have been fucking insane.
So are the next 24.
And also be sure to check out our Instagram right now, especially with everything that's going on in Western North Carolina. As a lot of you know, Helena came, but it's a lot more beat up and it's not getting the coverage that it kind of deserves. Because there are so many places that are just literally wiped away, you know. So we've been posting, obviously it doesn't apply to y'all now, but we've been trying to, you know, put out there information about like where you can get fresh water and food, cell service, Wi-Fi, XYZ. But definitely keep an eye on our page for your ability to donate, because there's going to be a lot coming up. A lot of people literally lost everything. Like, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that there are places that are just fucking gone now. And I know this has affected both of us and a lot of people that we love and a lot of people that we care about. So,
and I think it's worth mentioning too that like 100% of the donations are going to go to this.
Yeah,
before somebody fucking asks us.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely keep an eye on that. But aside from the doom and gloom,
we watched Modern
Family,
Modern Horizons 2, Monster House, one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, I am so excited because this was obviously we have like a lot of stuff going on for spooky season, and we wanted to do an entire month dedicated to this, but it just didn't work out. And Eric was like, I really want to, because we were talking about doing kids movies, right? Kids movies. And I think Monster House was a perfect pick on Eric's behalf. So really excited to talk about this fucking awesome movie.
Yeah.
Especially the end.
It's just funny. That's the thing about, like, it's just funny. It's pure entertainment from fucking start to finish. Like, the subtle nuances in the character expressions, from the motion capture, The writing, the voice actors. This kind of had a cracked cast too, if I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
mistaken.
no,
There was a lot of
absolutely.
people in this.
Some of the, I mean, we'll get into who they really are in a second, but like, I mean, you had Steve Buscemi, you had Fred Willard, R.I.P. Uh, you had fucking Catherine O'Hara, which is insane. Like they really did like just kind of have a knockout cast for this. Kevin James
Mhm.
was actually one of the cops in it. Nick Cannon, the the
It's the other cop.
was the other cop. But yeah, this movie was so much fun, and it's like it's something that obviously it's palatable for everybody. And I think one of my favorite parts about our generation, because this movie came out in 2006, and this is neither one of our first times watching this.
Mhm.
But I do remember watching it the first time. I actually just watched it last year for the first time because my god kid wanted to watch it, and I was like, I'm down for whatever, you know, because she can't watch Terrifier 2 yet. She also can't take shots with me. So
Neither can your partner.
and thank God for that. But she doesn't listen to this. But um but I think this movie is so much fun. I think that what I love, like what I was, the point I was getting to was I love this part of our generation uh having movies like this because there was like this beautiful part in writing that happened between like everything that DreamWorks did and Pixar and I think this one was Paramount if I remember
Mhm.
correctly. Um
Or Amblin, I can't remember.
well yeah,
Yeah.
it was an Amblin production
The
company. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But they love making adult jokes
Mhm.
that are like just centered enough that they go over the kids' heads,
Mhm.
but like us are just like,
Yeah. And you got to remember it was almost 20 years ago.
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. Oh my god, this movie was 2006. Jesus
Yeah.
fucking Christ.
So there's a lot more that you could get away with in 2006.
Well,
I feel like,
and I think that there was a lot more that they tried to get away with
sure.
and did a really good job of. And I think even now, like again, like I'm a huge Pixar fan. I don't care what anybody thinks. I will defend Pixar until I fucking die. They've made some of the greatest movies that have ever been created,
Mhm.
especially in the animation realm. Um, but yeah, I think this is just like another example of that, you
Mhm.
know, which is incredible to me. I loved Monster House the first time that I watched it, and I think now it's giving off classic vibes
Mhm.
because it can. Oh my god, we're looking at fucking 20 years of Monster House.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
But yeah, do you remember the first time did you watch this like when it came
In like
out?
probably 2008, 2009.
Okay, so like really not too long
Yeah,
after
yeah,
it
yeah.
came out.
And because that was back when we still this I find this adorable. A lot of people may find this weird. This is back when we would still do family movie nights in my house.
Oh, nice,
And so I would
nice.
have been like 16, 17. So it was a little like in my head, I'm like, it's a cartoon, it's a little beneath me, you know, or whatever. And that was me being my high school douchebag self because it actually
Totally.
is really cool. Um, and I just remember being stricken by, and you were talking about this being a classic. This is a classic for me because I remember being immediately drawn to the color palette
Oh yeah.
and how if you imagine without having seen this movie what 5:30 p.m. in late October looks like, that's what this movie looks like. You
Right.
know? And it's just gorgeous.
Everything was just warm enough.
Yep.
100%.
And not dead enough. No, it wasn't quite mid-November, you know.
Yeah, right. There's nothing iridescent
No.
to the world around you
2
yet.
weeks later, we have a completely different tone, you know. No, and I mean, again, the jokes I think are pretty relentless in this movie too. I mean, it's one of those that you will miss shit if you are too busy doing something that isn't watching the movie or listening to the movie or something. And it does, you know, I don't know. I won't go on that tangent, but it's just a good film.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I actually want to point out before we get like super into it. But the I one of the writers that I didn't know was on this was actually Dan Harmon. So
Makes perfect sense.
yeah, right. So your Community, Rick and Morty, like that, it's crazy that he can actually well, I guess having Justin Roiland out of the picture because he was not a part of this project makes things, I guess, a little less molesty
Mm.
on on Casp. But
Which is nice because it is about children.
oh, it's a girl house.
What?
But before we get into it, do you want to give us the itinerary? Oh wait, you can't. Oh God.
Love YouTube era under the floorboards. So I'm just going to sit here and listen.
Yes. So
It's like Borat. I'm king of the castle. I'm king of the castle.
so we have Ryan Whitley as little girl, which I think was the one that was on the tricycle.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Steve Buscemi as I'm not even going to talk about the jokes we were making earlier, but as Nebercracker. Nebercracker.
Good job.
We had Mitchell Musso as DJ. It's funny that they put voice after everyone. Like this is an animated movie.
Right. Steve Buscemi wasn't in this movie. Go back and watch it. He's not fucking there.
Yeah, but Mitchell Musso as DJ, who is going to be our main character. Catherine O'Hara as the mom. Fred Willard as the dad. There's only one mom and one dad in this film. Sam Lerner as Chowder. We have Woody Schultz as paramedic number 1, Ian McConnell as paramedic number 2, Maggie Gyllenhaal as Z, which is insane. We have Jason Lee as Bones, Spencer Locke as Jenny, Kevin James as Officer Landers, Nick Cannon as Officer Lister. They really should have given him another name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
Lister, I hardly know her.
Lister, I hardly know her. Dude, if this was P. Diddy, though, this would be a perfect fucking.
Impeccable timing, Your Majesty.
Yeah, exactly. God doesn't give with both hands, though. But John Heater as Reginald Skull Skalinsky. We have Kathleen Turner, which is insane, as Constance, even though she really was.
She said like 7 words.
Yeah.
They were mostly like guttural noises.
So we have Eric Walker as bully number 1 and Matthew Fahey as bully number 2. So let's get into it, right? La la la. That's la la la. Yeah, we have,
I'm just gonna do the background noises. You talk about the movie and I'll
so this movie starts off with kind of the understanding that there is a lawn that you're not supposed to go on. And they kind of reveal later, even though I think it's like completely understood this entire time, that on Halloween night, especially because there are so many kids that are running around and, trick-or-treating and such, that this man is trying to, who's Nebercracker, which is like, that's such a fucking insane name.
Because the kids also hit him with the tagline "Old Man Nebercracker," and it hits that stereotype so hard. It's the crazy old man, get off my lawn kind of character,
My lawn, and it's crazy because I feel like Steve Buscemi actually has like a very particular voice that he does for this, where it's like, if you're not quite paying attention, I don't think that you would realize that it's Steve Buscemi, which is insane.
Which is
me.
Cool. The mark of a great voice actor.
So we find out that DJ, who again, our main character, his parents are going out of town for what I can only assume is like a dentist convention.
Because they're bringing fucking props, dude.
They've got like a molar.
Hey, babe, go back in and get the incisor. Oh, yes, the incisor. Oh, yeah.
Dirty Talking 2006 was insane.
And so what DJ is doing is fucking dialed on this house across the street that belongs to Old Man Nevercracker
Mhm.
because he keeps seeing some weird shit happening, but he can't ever confirm it. He can't ever like make anybody believe him that this is happening. He can't ever like catch them in the act of it happening, you know.
Yeah, it's very much like that fuck Disturbia
Mhm.
with fucking Shia LaBeouf. Like he is just like always in his room trying to watch the old man across the street through his telescope, which is like its own kind of weirdness.
And that's why I don't believe that this movie was intentionally set in 2006.
But the lines that fucking Steve Buscemi have in this movie is fucking insane. Because and there's a point that we'll get to like once you know they wind up losing their basketball in his fucking lawn. Nevercracker picks up fucking DJ and just goes, "Do you want to be a dead person?"
I love life.
So we have one of Eric's crushes
Yeah.
is coming to be the babysitter
Keep
for the
in
weekend,
mind
right?
that this was 16, 17-year-old me. Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
And this is like after you've watched Danny Phantom
Yeah.
and
Right.
and fucking like
Impossible. And yeah. Yeah.
it's just you doing the impossible. It's you. You're totally unstoppable. We are going to be dropping so many fucking Disney songs.
The cover album
Yeah.
is going to be so copyright infringing. We're in a lot of trouble. I'm fucking sweating, dude. I don't know why I'm so hot.
It's probably all the fucking booze in the last 24 hours. My partner fucking, because I drive her to work, she like, I fell asleep on the couch naturally because I
Yeah.
couldn't go anywhere else. She comes and like nudges me in the morning and goes, "Honey, are you still drunk or do I need to empower?" And she doesn't ask me that because I am a raging alcoholic. She asked me that to make sure that like I wasn't going to get a Dewey on the way to driving her to work. I like didn't even move and I shot up a little bit and I was like, oh, I'm still drunk.
Which was funny because she warned him about that too, like earlier.
I believe that. I was not there for that part of the conversation, but
Hey, make sure you're not drunk when you wake up. He's like, yeah. Here's a shot.
the toxicity.
We're party drunks. The worst thing that I'm ever going to say to you when I'm drunk is that I love you.
Yeah, right.
So it's like
Because
I
he's
said,
gay.
yeah, it's all right. But yeah, Elizabeth, aka Z, the babysitter, comes up and she is just
Played by Maggie Gyllenhaal.
she is just fucking cartoon emo heaven, dude. It's just yeah.
So let me ask you this. Like, are you attracted to Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, and it's only because my first Maggie Gyllenhaal movie, I guess aside from this one, because this would have been the first Maggie Gyllenhaal movie that I saw in sequence. But there is a movie called Secretary
Oh yeah.
that she was in. It's so yes, I am
Yeah.
attracted to Maggie Gyllenhaal.
she was great.
Awesome. Awesome movie. That is fucking cinema.
It's funny too because she was obviously in The Dark Knight
Mhm.
and I guess part of The Dark Knight Returns because there's like a picture of her on the desk or whatever as Rachel. But I really loved or what I wanted to happen was like her be in The Dark Knight, right?
Mhm.
And then she had what's it there that scene where you see Rachel in a picture on the desk. I wanted that to be Katie Holmes so bad because that would have been fucking hilarious.
Because I don't know if you were like me, but the first time I saw The Dark Knight, I was like, "Who the fuck is this girl?"
Oh yeah,
Because
no,
it takes them like 45 minutes to say the name Rachel Dawes.
yeah, it's like we
okay.
replaced the actress. Got it.
Thanks.
It literally took less time for everybody to realize that I can never remember her name, but she was in Inception. She's an incredible actress. but
Yeah.
but in the Dark Knight
Talia.
Rises, yeah, everybody was like, "Oh no, that's Talia." Like
Mhm.
that, no one had any misconception
Absolutely not.
because she like says her name and like literally, I took my buddy to see this and he goes, "No, you're Talia," and I was like, "That's what I'm fucking saying."
My name is Dahlia Azul. I'm Spanish.
I love the Black Dahlia murder and the color blue. It's that fucking it's that fucking Family Guy where it's like P tear Griffin and a griffin flies in. He's like, oh god damn it.
It's a really shitty magic card. Talia Azul. 2-drop sacrifice, add 2 blue mana.
Yeah. um
Now.
well, yeah, so we've kind of like it's a relatively small cast,
Mhm.
right? So we have everyone that Z is going to be um the babysitter for the weekend, and of course she's dating like a 45-year-old McDonald's worker.
This guy's looking, whose name is obviously Bones.
And she pulls like one of the hottest flexes too, where she's talking to DJ because DJ's like, I'm a fully grown man. I have so much puberty right now.
Just bursting with puberty.
I'm vomiting puberty right now. And she like grabs a plant and just drops it on the floor and goes, DJ, why would you do that? He's like, I didn't do that. She goes, who do you think they're going to believe? And I was like, women have too much power.
It's also fucking stupid because I like if a babysitter ever did that to me and I told no, it wasn't me, it was the babysitter, my mom would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, you're probably right.
We found her on
You're
Reddit.
right.
So
2006 was crazy.
not the Craigslist babysitter.
She wouldn't look like that, trust me.
Why did you put will not molest in your ad? Shows up with 5 bottles of baby oil.
It's P. Diddy as Mrs. Doubtfire.
Miss without a doubt. Fire. Fire.
Do these locks work? Yes. Cool.
So yeah, we wind up having this crazy it feels like intermission because it's like for some reason Bones is like there and he comes up the stairs and fucking DJ is very attached to this stuffed bunny, and I'm not trying to like shit on people that need fuzzies around or fucking whatever. I was just never that kind of kid. Like I didn't have emotional attachments to things that weren't real.
Yeah.
Other than my dad, I guess, but
yeah. I would also, I'm not trying to shit on people either, but I think 10 is way more acceptable than 37 is.
Because he comes up the stairs and he goes into DJ's room and he's just like, oh man, this is so crazy. She's got something in her throat. And like it's so over sexualized. Like I really thought that he was gonna fuck this stuffed bunny or face fuck it in front of him. And he starts like ripping the stuffing out of the neck and shit. And I'm like, this is what weird people do. Like this is like textbook serial killer crazy.
And even
shit.
Z is like, nah, you go back downstairs. That was because the whole premise at this point being is that because I don't even know if we talked about it or not because we were too busy discussing the whatever. But never crapper
Never crapper.
never
He
crapper
doesn't shit ever.
Has a heart attack and falls on top of DJ when he attempts to go get this basketball back, right? So the house is reacting. We have a really cool shot, like he falls asleep, where the shadow of the house looms in through the window and down becomes a hand and tries to grab him and he wakes up and shit like that. So naturally, you call Chowder.
Chowder's on it.
Chowder is in the middle of a dig site, working a plow.
For no reason.
Yeah.
He's not like actually employed.
It's like
because he's 10.
It's like after midnight and he's just in this dig site. Do you think he drained the lake?
Wh- when I saw this, like, I don't know, you've seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, right? So like all I could think about is like, what about when they drag the lake, Harry? Because I guess there's like apartments that are going up soon, and it just yeah, it just says next to it, we drag the lake.
It was like this Borderlands ass sign. Yeah, this like handsome Jack wrote that.
But like, yeah, you just have the acoustic guitar in the background. You have Eli Roth killing himself for some fucking reason.
Yeah, he's in the bottom of the house too somewhere.
It's probably his Zionism.
Yeah,
I would venture to guess. People love Eli Roth, and
I don't get it.
I will never understand it. Like between being a Zionist and making shitty movies, like I just don't understand. Like
What's the appeal?
because you guys have listened to our fucking Hostel episode.
Yeah,
It was terrible.
yeah.
And it's like I don't know. I don't know. I'm about to go down the rabbit hole of like why Saw getting grouped in with that I took personally
Yeah.
for so long. But if you want to hear that, go listen to our Hostel episode. The movie sucks. We fucking dogged on it for I don't know, I guess 50 minutes.
It was longer than we intended because we can.
Welcome to it, dog. Um, but yeah, so we've created this ethos of the house is alive.
Yeah.
Right. And we have seen instances of it, and it kind of like turtle shells up a little bit whenever other people are around, because like much like any child forward film, you have to be able to gaslight the children.
Or they gaslight themselves, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, right.
And I love the mechanic of how the house claims its victims, because it riffs on that trope of when you hit a baseball into the angry old man's neighborhood, it basically is gone forever. Because you're not gonna he's got a giant fucking gorilla dog back there, and just shit like that. Sorry. And it sort of absorbs whatever object is in the yard under the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. But as you wander near it, it presents that object to you again. So you're constantly, it's like that hanging the bait out for you, and that's
Come on over, Rover.
and I love that mechanic of a ghost house, because that just is, again, hysterical from a kid's standpoint, because when shit starts disappearing and suddenly your friends around the neighborhood start disappearing, you start sticking telescopes out your window to see if it really is a haunted house and that kind of thing. And so I like the concept is very easy to buy into.
Oh yeah. And what I loved was when Bones goes downstairs after throat fucking this bunny. Uh, he's like talking to Z, and they have like it's just like this really in-depth conversation about how he misses his kite. And he
Trauma dumps a little bit.
he trauma dumps about this kite.
Yeah.
And talks about how Nebercracker is a bad person. I'm like, you literally just ripped the stuffing out of a child's fucking toy in front of him.
That man is evil. He destroyed my favorite toy. Also,
my kite. This is my kite, dude. And he was definitely putting off, like, I don't think he ever washed his jean jacket. Like he looked like he would have been friends with the dudes from Nirvana, but like wouldn't play with them because it wasn't quite his scene.
Yeah, he wouldn't ever be friends with the dudes from Nirvana. He would say he was. But they never hung out with him. They don't even know who he is.
He actually sold heroin to Kurt Cobain one time. Is the energy that this dude's putting off. Like even in the animation, like we're talking like it felt like a 40-year age gap.
He significantly older than Z did.
He's got meth teeth for some reason.
It's probably because of the meth.
And he leaves that night, and of course he's shit faced, and he like throws a bottle in the yard, and he's just like, "You took my kite." And he like falls on the grass and just gets absorbed by the house. It's honestly like one of the most Simpsons style scenes that I've ever seen.
It's 100% a Treehouse of Horror episode that just got extended.
And they're like, and Z makes a remark later in the film where she's just like, And yeah, have you seen Bones? He mysteriously left last night for some reason. I was like, because you kicked him out of the fucking house.
Mhm.
I get that she's being anti-cop. Like she doesn't want to have any room for somebody to be like, oh,
And
you
that's
guys had a fight last night,
and
you
that's and
say.
that's why I like Z, because she's got boundaries. She enforces said boundaries,
She's
but
got style, she's got grace.
she still wants to make sure you're okay and you got home safe.
And she's pretty pinnacle for introducing another character
Yes.
in this film that was pretty important is Jenny,
Hmm.
who is like this prep school girl who for some reason doesn't fucking she she makes a call to her mom earlier and she's just like, "Hey, I'm in this town selling candy," and then all this
Right.
crazy shit happened, and I was like,
She out here hustling, dude.
"Yeah,
Like,
but it's just like brought you here."
right.
I walked 2 towns over. Look, and watching her haggle with Z was so fucking funny to me because it's like, I want Z's like, I want 2 bags of the fucking peanut clusters. She's like, I'll do 1 bag and a licorice whip.
Mhm.
And this was like one of the best sales pitches I've seen in my entire life because she's like, if you run out of candy, you're probably gonna get your fucking house egged.
Oh,
And
she
like,
she
and
commits some tax fraud here
yeah,
too. It's like, there's some money laundering going. She was like, maybe the people who you're babysitting for left you $40. Maybe they left me 30. How about I write a check or a receipt for 30? I keep 20, you pocket 10.
and there's her product pay. Like
100%. 100%.
uh
She's like $8 away from a basketball.
meanwhile you've got fucking Chowder and fucking DJ pissing into 2-liter bottles upstairs right now.
Leaving up all night for no fucking reason.
Because here's the thing, is like if you're watching the house across the street, what the fuck does that even do?
Right. Right. It won't move if we watch it.
Or even if it moves,
Yeah.
it just stops moving when people show up. So what the fuck are you actually gonna do?
So Z leaves to go find Bones, drops the candy off in the room, and they look back out the window and see Jenny going across the street to the other house. And
Right.
naturally, this is the first female they've ever seen in their entire life. So they both fall in
And
love
she's a
immediately,
redhead,
and she's
which
a
means that
redhead,
she's a freak.
and she's a prep school redhead, which means she's rich.
DJ's like, I bet that shit grips.
It's so weird. She's 10. It's so fucking weird. Or is it? Because if you're 10 and you're thinking about that about another 10-year, no, I'm just kidding.
Not the justification loop.
It's so fucking funny to me.
But yeah, the house is so she's like rolling up, and everyone's like, no,
She's like, are you guys mentally challenged?
because I can teach you baseball.
Right.
It's just like, oh my god.
She came for their brains and their masculinity in one clip.
So the sidewalk going up to the house, right? Or whatever you fucking call the entryway.
Yeah, the porch.
Well, not the porch,
The
but like
steps to the porch.
well, not even that, but like literally the cement that goes up to it starts like busting out of the ground,
Yeah.
and she's like on a roller coaster of this sentient house that is like controlling her momentum. It's so because she's just
Juggling this poor child
and,
and her wagon of licorice whips.
and I love watching boys fight over girls because I think that's just like the funniest
It
thing
is.
to me. And they both go over like, we have to save her and protect her from the house. And the carpet comes out of the house because the carpet is like the tongue masterfully as this part of the house. And it goes to like grab her, and both DJ and Chowder grab her on either side. It's like, I'm saving her. No, I'm saving her.
I saved her first.
You can't call dibs through a fucking through a telescope.
And you can't call dibs on a girl. Very progressive, Chowder. I like that for 2006.
Even though he proceeds to say, and I did call dibs.
So they meander back into the bedroom. She is floored by the amount
How much pee is it?
it?
How much pee is it?
When she walks in, Chowder's on the phone with his dad. It's like, kiss my hairy butt, Dad. Hey, DJ, you got any beer? Oh, what's up, 10-year-old girl?
And we were talking about this a little bit during the film. DJ's family is fucking crazy.
Chowder's family.
Chowder's family. Well, it's crazy to have a dentist for a dad. It's crazy to have a dad.
He probably killed himself in a sequel.
Monster House 2 Unalive. So it's literally like one of my favorite parts in this entire movie. And I talk about this a lot where I feel like so much story can be told in just like a couple lines of dialogue. And it's someone asked Chowder what his where his parents are or whatever, because there's always that friend where like you just don't know where
you've never met his parent.
Yeah,
he's always around.
Yeah. And it's just like, well, my dad's out doing this, my mom's at the movie theater with her personal trainer. I was like, oh, word. So she's cheating on him. Great.
And the thing is like Chowder knows, he's just cool about it.
I like to think that there's like an entire sub arc that's happening in the background where like we meet Chowder's his mom's personal trainer, and he like walks in the house, like rubs his head a little bit, and he's like, what's going on, Chowder?
Hiya, sport. Good to meet you.
Yeah, me and your mom are gonna go to the movies. By that I mean I'm gonna go bang out her fucking vulva.
You hold it down here, little man. Chief. Bucko.
It's just fucking crazy how much shit's probably happening in the background.
It explains why he's never at home. It's actually quite sad.
All right, shout ahead.
So fucking funny.
But yeah, so that's why he is not with his family and just peeing into 2-liter bottles in this boy's room. Yeah. That's the other thing that they never really cover, is just the fact that like they are definitely whipping dicks out and peeing in front of each other.
The minutia of who goes and who doesn't go, and like, is it a rotation? Did they have their own bottle? Did they share a bottle?
Don't drink that. Don't drink out of
Do
that
not
bottle.
drink that. Is this pee?
That's the thing.
You pee in bottles, TJ.
They're fermenting toilet wine upstairs throughout this whole fucking process, and it's so funny to me because that's exactly what teenage boys do.
Yeah. Anybody who denies it is a fucking liar. You're a fucking liar.
I have peed in front of more people than I am comfortable talking about. Granted, one of those was a parole officer, so it's like,
well, he asked you to.
Yeah. But he would talk to me while I was doing it. It was the weirdest thing.
Have you ever thought about getting your urethra checked out? That stream's pretty weak, my guy.
No, he would ask me about like cars and shit. Like he would have like a generalized conversation with me while I've got dick in hand, peeing into a cup for him. Like that. It was insane.
POs are fucking, yeah.
The funniest part though was his name, or his last name was the Shire.
Okay.
The Shire. And he was like 5'2".
So his first name was Frodo of
the Shire. I'm towering over this man while I'm trying to piss into a fucking cup.
He's got a hand on your ass. Asking you about your stick shift.
Oh my God, dude. It was so fucking uncomfortable. It was so fucking uncomfortable. And that is why I can piss in front of anybody. Because I've had it as awkward as it can be.
That barrier just isn't there anymore.
I'm like writing my name in cursive on somebody's fence at this point in my life. John. That's the thing too. And this is like,
His people didn't know. Like listeners didn't know. Like how you would pronounce your name if you were writing it in
yeah, that's how I pronounce it in urine.
right. So
Yeah, totally. But now we're trying to kind of figure out what's going on with this house, right?
yeah,
And
we have 3 witnesses, all children, all in this room, all having separate experiences with this house.
we've called the cops at least once
Mhm.
already. Like the cops are going to do anything but shoot the house.
Well, there weren't any black guys.
Except for Nick Cannon as a cop.
Yeah.
I still think that they shouldn't have had the post scenes.
Oh, I know.
Like
It ruined a lot of the mystique for me.
yeah, I wanted this kill count to be higher than the Conjurings. Instead, it has the same kill count.
Mhm.
Actually, I think
But the dog does survive.
yeah, I was gonna say there is one up on the Conjuring, and I can't
Yeah.
believe I'm saying that.
Mhm.
So there's like I will say the only thing I don't like about this movie is the motivation doesn't make sense throughout the entirety of this film because uh DJ is like, I have to go help the house, but not help the house because I killed Nebercracker, because Nebercracker, for what we all intents and purposes, is dead in the hospital because of the heart attack that he had. Um and I just don't get the motive. And I know it's a children's movie, but like
Yeah.
I don't
I
get the
think his
motivation.
I think his purpose with destroying the house, because he wants to fucking blow up the furnace. He wants to like take the water guns in and put the fire
Kill the
out.
heart.
Right. And a lot of this is just because it's Halloween night and it's going to continue killing children.
Right.
And so I think that's why he made it his personal mission to go take out the house.
So I wonder what the kill count really was in this film. Like
The house died. So I mean, spoilers, the house dies.
from being too fat.
Type 2 diabetes. That shit'll sneak up on you.
um, and this is like way earlier in the plot, and this doesn't really have
Mhm.
a lot to do with anything. But I love the fact, like, my favorite scene in this entire film is watching Chowder get hit by a car.
Because it happens a couple times.
Oh, not again.
In fact, a couple kids get hit by cars on more than one occasion.
They're even like they're running back across the street, and we're just like, hit her.
So to skip forward just a little bit, because a lot of this is just plot movement to get really to what is the climax of the movie.
The blackface.
Well, yeah, absolutely. The funniest part for me was the plan to fill up a dummy with gallons of cold medicine.
It's got like a mask from the creature from the Black Lagoon. It is a vacuum cleaner,
which it's squatting on.
and I was like, where did they find this varsity jacket from? Because
yeah,
they fill it with, as Eric described, $400 worth of cold medicine,
right?
Because they're trying to knock the house out,
which is rock solid 10-year-old logic. Because all you would know is, how do you go to sleep? You drink cold medicine.
Yeah, it's a lot of Delsum. Delsum dynamite.
And as the house is about to take the dummy, the cops show up for the second time and are like going to take these children to jail, which again is fucking illegal. You cannot put 10-year-olds in jail because of trespassing.
They're in the same cell as Diddy.
Right? You know how long I've been waiting for this?
Actually, and funnily enough, I saw that Diddy had posted bail. His bail was $50 million. Do you know how much you did it? When they're posting bail at $50 million and you pay it, and you fucking pay it. I mean,
there genuinely has to be a correlation between bail amounts and like guilty verdicts.
Yeah,
there's got to be. I want to see the numbers on that.
And the thing is like, Diddy was going to be safe in jail. He's the raper.
Nobody's messing with him.
Suge Knight.
Right.
Suge Knight is trying to just like be at peace
Right.
with the rest of his life.
He's in there like Qui-Gon Jinn before he fought Darth Maul.
Levitating.
Just Diddy, that boy was the chosen one.
The baby oil starts fucking lifting off the ground.
Dude, waterbending's crazy.
It's an oil bender. I've loved the amount of people that are just like, sometimes you're just that ashy. I'm like, you are 1,000 bottles of baby oil ashy.
That shit doesn't exist. That shit's not fucking real. You're looking like Voldemort at the end of Harry Potter 7.2.
I can touch you now.
Gentle breeze just
um, so the plan is again to give the house enough Robitussin to fucking put it down.
long enough to go in and put out the fire with super soakers.
Yeah, while they're also in these bottomed out trash cans, so they can like Fred Flintstone across the street so that the house doesn't see them.
And Chowder's too stupid to even get in his. He's pushing it from behind. Like, why aren't you just carrying the trash can?
Because he has a concussion from getting hit by a fucking car.
4 hours ago. No, it's real. But
meanwhile, his mom's getting her back blown out
by the PT at the Planet Fitness
in the fucking parking lot. It makes there's a joke that happens here in a minute that makes a lot more sense now thinking about the shit that's probably been said in front of him. Like he probably does know what a vulva is.
Yeah.
It's his mom's vulva, but he has heard the word before.
Yeah. So the cops show up, they begin investigating the house. There's some trigger point that forces them to go check it out or whatever. I think the other guy, Nick Cannon's character, whose name I can't remember.
The cops come back.
Yeah. Nick Cannon, because they're going to take the kids to jail. And I think he hears a sound, so he goes and checks it out, and the fucking tree grabs him. And the Kevin James cop like
starts like whipping his ass around,
like points a gun at him for some reason. I'm helping.
So Kevin James' character was going around the other side of the house, and he's like, "Oh no, my partner's screaming!"
Right,
pulls out a gun, and the best part is the way that they designed this scene was it felt like they realized afterwards they shouldn't be pointing a gun at somebody, because he comes around the corner, gun out, pointing at Nick Cannon in the trees.
Yeah.
And then we have the whip scene for a second, and it goes back to Kevin James, who doesn't have anything on him now. And they were like, "Oh, that was bad."
Yeah.
There was a lot of gunplay.
Again, couldn't get away with that in 2024.
Not the woke mom.
But the house eats Kevin James and Nick Cannon,
and like rips the fucking police car in half. And like the kids are now getting brought into the house. And
well, we're here. Plan worked.
Yeah, I guess. And this part didn't really make sense either to me. Is they get sucked into the house in half of a fucking car. They jump out on either side, and as it turns out, the house doesn't realize that they're still alive. And they're like, he probably thought that we're still in the car. And I was like, I don't understand the anatomy of this house. No.
It's almost like it's not fucking real.
We got to kill the heart.
Stab the heart. Save the ship. The Dutchman must have a captain.
You better start believing in ghost stories, boy, because you're in one. And this house is like completely sentient at this point, right? And I don't know what the house's motivation is, other than the fact that we find out that Nebercracker has a BBW fix, I guess, and he is obsessed with this woman who is a quote unquote giant. Um, and he fell in love with the circus girl, and I felt you really do feel bad for Nevercracker because he's clearly in an abusive relationship,
Mm-hmm.
not just with the haunted house,
Mm-hmm.
but like she was kind of a bitch in the only scenes that we see her in.
Yeah, she is so trauma laden with believing that humans, except for Nevercracker, exist to make her life miserable,
Mhm.
that every person she interacts with, she sees as a threat.
Yeah.
And that takes some of Nevercracker's humanity away from him because that forces him into a place where, in order to keep her from hurting other people, he has to become the villain himself,
Mhm.
which is very cool for a kids movie because we don't normally get character development like that.
Yeah.
You know,
No, 100%. And so the whole ethos of the house is it feels like it's out of defense, but it's like you're so defensive that now you're on the offense.
full circle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. And you know, it does suck because she's like, you know, getting the first scene we see her in, she's like an oddity, and people just throw tomatoes at her. And I was just like, also, where do all these tomatoes come from?
Yeah.
Like, where are the pocket tomatoes? This guy stinks. And we just start like throwing shit at her. And I was like, where does all this shit come? Like, did you come preloaded? Like, did
Yeah.
you know that you were just going to be an asshole in
Right.
the show?
Right.
And they're like, for some reason, she's in a cage.
That part killed me because I like get rid of her. They wheel her like 300 yards away from the circus.
Nevercracker's like, you're going to come live with me now. Because she was so big, she was cross-eyed for some reason. Like,
They also like made her sound stupid, like which was extra brutal. Fat people are dumb.
are you guys mentally challenged?
Right.
She's a baseball player.
It just sucks. um yeah, so they explore the house a little bit. They like find the basement full of toys. Two of the kids get sucked up, redeposited into the entryway where they have to like attack the uvula. Oh, it must be a girl house. Right. And that's the big line that I think most people remember from this. And she's like, "What? Everybody has a uvula." He's like, "Not me." So they stimulate the uvula to trigger the gag reflex to prevent from being swallowed and digested from the house. They get
Mhm.
vomited back on the front yard. Uh, there's a little bit of a friend fight that happens, and DJ's like, "No, I'm going home because I suck." Steps in,
Gets hit by a car.
gets hit by a car. And the other two kids run over, and Chowder says the line that I guarantee you, if John and I saw this happen, we would say the exact same thing. Because at least it's an ambulance. Oh, it's just so fucking funny to me.
To every little bit, there's another silver lining.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got it, which they never cover the fact that clearly Nevercracker has stolen this ambulance. Because he's trying to get back to the house before Halloween night, and he's
Right.
just like, "Oh, Neptune."
Of course, I'm not dead.
Dumbass.
What's wrong with you?
Even though he was definitely dead when he was on the gurney,
It
because
was rigor mortising.
it's like we literally have a character who dies in front of us, has a heart attack.
Uh-huh.
Let's say on the low end 15 minutes for this ambulance to fucking get there, right? They're not even doing CPR on this guy.
No siren.
I feel like
Yeah.
my man went probably a solid half an hour without oxygen.
Right. Right.
To triumphantly come back. You know what I mean?
Plus,
Like
gotta move forward somehow.
I fucking guess so. It's almost like the movie's not real.
Yeah.
But um and it's just fucking crazy to me that now we have Nevercracker is back to and he has like this really weird moment with DJ, and DJ's like, "I love you." And Nevercracker's like, "I love you too." And I'm like, "Kiss him." Come kiss me on my hot mouth.
I'm feeling Tactical.
So now Nevercracker is like hitting on the house. It's just like, because now we know the entire story, and he's just like, baby, I promised you I would always take care of you, and like this, that, and the other. And for some reason, that again, he's in an abusive relationship with
You
his
gotta
house.
stop eating people. You gotta stop eating, period.
And she- she's like eating Doritos while he's having this conversation. Um, it is kind of like a creepy scene too, like where the house is alive. It's very Evil Dead 2
Mhm.
esque. There's all the toys that we find that are in the basement, and we find her actual body that has been
Covered
in semen. And it's so funny too, because like even her corpse is fat. Like, I don't know why they felt the need to do that. Um, and that's
big bones, baby.
yeah, and that's where all of the storyline kind of comes from,
Yeah.
and going into the flashbacks and stuff, and like you feel so bad honestly for Nevercracker the whole time, because she's not particularly attractive.
The entire thing is about misunderstanding.
Yeah,
Like from every character's perspective, there is some level of misunderstanding they have about everybody else. That
you
is
didn't kill her, did you?
right.
You loved her, didn't
Yeah.
you?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Flashback sequence.
So now the house is just pissed
Mhm.
because it feels the need to feed, which is not surprising.
Mhm.
Um, and it this is such a cool sequence, because it literally the haunting is really the entire property.
Mhm.
So she has the ability to become the trees and make the trees become her arms. And now there is a completely sentient house
That is time to go mobile.
that is like tearing up the streets. And like, I thought Nevercracker died like 4 times the first time I watched
Who
this.
the fuck didn't see this house
Right.
in the whole neighborhood?
On Halloween, there are literally children just walking around.
It wasn't quiet. It wasn't making zero noise, so you couldn't make the argument that nobody heard it.
And it just starts tearing ass through the neighborhood, and it's chasing the kids down, I guess, a side street. And Nevercracker just gets like walked over at some point, and we thought that he was going to die, and the kids are running towards the we dragged the lake Harry spot, because they've been
Good thing we introduced that location earlier.
yeah.
Seemed extraneous at the time.
Yeah, and the house is like reshaping itself because it's just been so fucking beat up and shit, and it's chasing the kids down, and Nevercracker takes a brick and just fucking throws the brick at the house, which is so fucked up, because now the house is triggered, because that's not okay. Like, we literally just saw her get tomatoes thrown at her, and like, why are you traumatizing this house again?
Because he knew it would make it stop chasing the kids.
Don't chase those kids. I love Steve Buscemi. I fucking.
Do you want to be a dead person?
Because this is how you get to be a dead person. Oh no, I love life.
The best though is he kind of calms the house down, and then reveals in
Starts
his
like
cast,
petting it.
right? Reveals in his cast a fucking bundle of dynamite.
Which is the most cartoon shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude killed people in Korea.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
he was
this
part of the
movie-
quote unquote demolition squad. And it's like him in like a 1920s bust kind of thing.
It looks like the Team Fortress 2 characters, like in the little squad photo.
And he's just the tiny demolitions expert. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
100%.
You know, he probably started with mine detection, worked his way up to dynamite,
Stop. Oh,
Right.
right. Not.
Dude, the house, the movie itself may not have a body count. That dude does. I killed a lot of people.
I killed a lot of people. Yeah, no, it's absolutely insane. And of course, Chowder for some reason is driving the wrecking crane.
Because he doesn't know how. So that's why. Just screaming,
Because they decide that they like Nevercracker like gives dynamite to this 10-year-old child. It's like, you have to blow up the heart. And that's the thing too, is like they keep focusing around the heart this entire movie. And it's just so fucking funny to
Key to
me.
peace, destroy your heart. That's how you achieve.
Destroy ya. So they get onto what is the more industrialized crane instead of the fucking digger, I guess you kind of have, which is what Chowder is driving.
Which also wouldn't be there if they weren't done digging yet. But
there's a really funny scene where Chowder's about to like fall in this hole after, because he's like 1v1ing the house right now.
He's your buddy in Dark Souls or in fucking Elden Ring that's like drawing aggro so you can go heal and get set up.
Meanwhile, DJ's kissing the girl in the fucking crane tower.
Like the doggy. Chowder out here earning his stripes. The field of battle.
He's just fucking vomiting in the so he's like 1v1ing the house. DJ's making out with the redhead Jenny.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, we gotta figure this out. And he like, I'm trying to think of like the exact sequence of how this happens, because he like swings down on the crane and he swings back up. Jenny, for some reason, he just like doesn't have the dynamite. Jenny's like, oh, that's not good, because she's like holding lit dynamite in her fucking hand right now.
So she shows off that outfielder's arm.
And this was the craziest mechanic I've seen in my entire life. I the way that they created the animation is he swings up and then he swings down. And as he's swinging down, she throws it. And somehow he is now swinging up again in the same like half a second to grab the dynamite out of the air. And Jenny be like, yeah.
Out 3.
And he drops the dynamite down the shaft, down the chimney. And like the crane operation thing that Chowder was in is like destroyed. He lost the battle against the house, and he almost gets knocked over. And this is like one of the, I guess, more titillating scenes, is you have he looks over the edge that he's about to get knocked into, and it's just fucking rebar shooting up. I was like, dangerous. He's gonna have lockjaw so fucking bad
if he doesn't bleed out.
If he doesn't just die. And it was I don't know, that was just really fucking funny to me.
It was weirdly dark.
And he like swings in and saves Chowder. And the house blows up, and they're free now. They're fucking free from all the abuse that this man has taken on for 45 years.
Who, meanwhile, is over here painting with all the colors of the wind.
Yeah, and we get to the final sequence, and like it's them just handing toys back out.
Reconciliation. At this point.
He takes the tricycle from earlier and just puts the wheel in it and hands it back to the girl. I really wanted them to like put it in her basket. Like, I think that would have been fucking hilarious.
Here.
Mom, I got a tricycle.
That shit's broke.
That's what we call Chowder's mom.
Well done. The ultimate third wheel.
That's what we call Chowder's dad. It could have been a cuck situation and we just didn't know.
Yeah, we don't judge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, they do show that the cops are still alive. And then there's like this really weird scene with Bones, and he's got his kite on his back, and he like steps out, and he's just like, I was like, is that Monster House 2 where it's Bones and he's the bad guy the whole time?
He gets covered in toys.
I mean, you know, he hits women.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
But yeah, they everything's, I guess, gravy, except for the fact that his wife, who's been haunting him for 45 years, is finally dead.
Mhm.
And even like it was so disrespectful that like even her ghost was fat.
Because like when Anakin Skywalker died, like he became hot Anakin Skywalker again. You know, like there is some grace there. I'm always curious about that.
Yeah, if you're going to be sexier as a ghost,
Yeah, yeah.
I like to think so.
You come back in your prime. Maybe that's like the heaven thing. Like your reward is your beauty in the
Right.
afterlife or something. You wanted to draw attention to this sequence, the final scene where DJ decides to finally go trick or treating with Chowder.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is the, and it didn't even occur to me the first time that I watched this film. This is the craziest shit that I've seen in my entire life because
And he's seen a lot of crazy shit.
I've seen a lot of crazy shit. I've seen a lot of crazy shit. And this child, so DJ and Chowder are like, you know, they've won the battle of the day, right?
Mhm.
And Chowder's like, well, you know, maybe we are too old for trick or treating because they've ascended now. They've been pumped full of puberty and they are ready for the next phase of life. And DJ's like, well, we did kind of work really hard. Maybe we deserve the rest of the night off. Let's go trick or treating. And this motherfucker wipes his hand across the dirtiest face that has ever existed of Chowder. And he fucking rubs it into his eyes and gives himself a mustache. And I was just like, did they just put blackface? My culture is not your costume.
Look, I'm a criminal. It's just like, God damn, dude.
I was like, this was really fun until the racism.
Yeah.
Because
Dan Harmon, you
got yeah, you really couldn't fucking slip by it because I was just like,
right. Yeah, it was just bad.
It was
it was just not great. Because it implied that Chowder was already in costume. You know,
because it wasn't even dirt; it was midnight black.
It was soot. Oh boy. Yeah, man. But that's Monster House.
That was Monster House. I fucking loved this movie. I thought it was funny. It's palatable for everyone. Like, loved Monster House. It was definitely the Hangover movie that I didn't know that I needed.
Nice. Big laughs.
What about you, man?
I think it's just what I consider to be like a perfect Halloween movie. Again, the aesthetic that they set up, the vibes that they set up, it's creepy enough that it gives off Halloween vibes. It's not doing that thing where it's like, it's a Christmas movie because they have Christmas in the movie. This is about Halloween. This is about shit that goes down at Halloween. You know, we're doing Halloween stuff. It's incredibly, incredibly funny.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those things where you will watch it a couple times and come back and watch it again and you'll hear a joke that you didn't hear it the first time because it's that dense with humor. And it's just, yeah, if you haven't seen it, you absolutely are doing yourself a disservice by not doing that, which is probably sucks because it's no longer on Netflix if you're seeing this now. You're gonna have to rent that shit.
I mean, it'll probably be on Tubi.
Yeah,
I would venture to guess. That's why it's leaving Netflix to go to Tubi.
It's like when Gandalf takes Frodo to the Grey Havens at the end of Lord of the Rings. It's like it's sad that we don't get to experience it here anymore, but at least he's okay.
Well, happy Halloween, everybody, and make sure that you check out on November 1st our second annual Indie Horror Awards show. We've got some really cool first looks at some upcoming films, the same kind of hijinks as last year. All the pineapples, all the butt stuff. Make sure to check it out. But thank you guys for joining us once again. We're at Creeks, it cracks, and we laugh at the creatures that go bump in the night.